History holds the answers, or does it? From forgotten maps to ancient secrets buried in plain sight, the world's greatest mysteries remain unsolved, and the truth lies hidden, waiting for you to uncover it. Please like, share, and subscribe. Histories, Mysteries, and Conspiracies. Season 2, Unraveling the Unknown. Where the past isn't just a story, it's a puzzle. Are you ready to piece it together? The greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance. It is the illusion of knowledge. Stephen Hawking. Divine clash and sacred herbs, the myth of marijuana. As the story goes, long ago, before humankind had fully risen, the world was shared by angels and jinn, capable of great wisdom and great destruction. Among them grew a desire to create a potion, not of poison, but of healing. A draught that would restore life, open minds, and give protection from evil. The angels stirred it with light, the jinn with fire. But harmony never lasts. The good jinn sought to preserve the gift for humankind, while the dark ones sought to twist it for power. A struggle broke out. They wrestled over the vessel of the potion, each pulling in fury. At last, the jar shattered and the potion spilled across the earth. Where it touched the ground, the 5 sacred plants were born, living remnants of the divine brew. From one drop rose cannabis, the plant of vision, opening doors of perception. From another, basil, the herb of protection. From another, garlic, the ward against darkness. From another, mint, the plant of clarity. And from the last, sage, the herb of mystery and shadow. Each carried a fragment of the lost potion, a piece of heaven's remedy scattered across the earth. And so, from ancient myth, cannabis was never seen as an ordinary weed, but as one of the 5 super herbs, born of a cosmic struggle between angels and jinn. And so cannabis was never just a plant, but a gift wrestled from heaven, carrying both healing and mystery. From this myth, we turn to history, where cannabis continues to straddle the line between sacred and forbidden. But beyond legend, cannabis left real footprints across human history. The known history. The history of cannabis and its usage by humans dates back to at least the 3rd millennium BC in written history, and possibly as far back as the pre-pottery Neolithic B, 8800–6500 BCE, based on archaeological evidence. For millennia, the plant has been valued for its use for fiber and rope, as food and medicine, and for its psychoactive properties for religious and recreational use. Hemp is one of the earliest plants to be cultivated. Cannabis has been cultivated in Japan since the pre-Neolithic period for its fibers, and as a food source and possibly as a psychoactive material. An archaeological site in the Oki Islands near Japan contained cannabis achenes from about 8000 BC, probably signifying use of the plant. Hemp use archaeologically dates back to the Neolithic age in China, with hemp fiber imprints found on Yanashao culture pottery dating from the 5th millennium BC. The Chinese later used hemp to make clothes, shoes, ropes, and an early form of paper. In religion. In China, Taoist shamans used cannabis in combination with ginseng to reveal truths about the future, believing the plant had the ability to cast their spirit forward in time. In Taoism, cannabis consumption was reserved for religious officials and not shared with common people, which might explain its strange exclusion from ancient texts. By 200 CE, the Han dynasty of Imperial China had embraced Confucianism, abandoned Taoism, and with it, cannabis. While spiritual Chinese cannabis consumption may have ended by 200 CE, it was just coming into its own in India. It is said that the gods sent hemp out of compassion for the human race, so that they may attain delight, lose fear, and increase sexual desires. Other Hindu stories suggest cannabis originated from a spot of nectar dropped from heaven. More popular is a theory that both gods and demons churned the milk ocean to obtain Amrita, Sanskrit for immortality, and receive cannabis as a result. Whichever story you believe, there's no doubting that cannabis holds a sacred spot in the Hindu faith. In practice, the locally favored Hindu deity was given offerings of cannabis drinks during religious festivals. Community members took part as well, sharing cannabis bowls amongst one another. In Tibet, India and Tibet share not only a border, but also a rich tradition of religious cannabis consumption. Tibet is a historically Buddhist nation. In Mahayana Buddhism, one of the two main branches of the religion, it is said that Gautama Buddha subsisted on one hemp seed a day for 6 years to aid in his path to enlightenment. Buddha is sometimes depicted holding a bowl of soma, or cannabis leaves. Buddhist practitioners would often consume cannabis to facilitate meditation or heighten awareness during religious ceremonies. In ancient Greece, the ancient cultures of Scythia and Assyria were known to use cannabis incense for religious ceremonies. Herodotus, a Greek historian from the 5th century BCE, known as the father of history, wrote that the Scythians held religious ceremonies in tent-like structures where they burned hemp plants in censers on wooden tripods. See image below. Participants communally inhaled smoke vapors for ritualistic and euphoric purposes. Assyrians are believed to have used cannabis incense as early as the 9th century BCE, though there is not yet archaeological evidence to support this claim. It is known, however, that Assyrians used cannabis incense to ward off evil spirits. It was commonly burned during funerary rituals and to cast out wicked spirits from children's rooms. In the Old Testament, cannabis is clearly prominent in ancient Eastern religions, but there are scholars who believe that Judaic and Christian traditions used the plant as well. In 1936, Polish etymologist Sula Benet proposed a radical new interpretation of Old Testament Hebrew text. According to her, a mistranslation that occurred in the original Greek version of the Old Testament mistook the Hebrew word for cannabis, cannabis, as calamus, a plant traditionally used to make fragrances. If her translation is correct, this would fundamentally change our understanding of the Old Testament. References to cannabis are made in Exodus, Song of Songs, Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel. In Exodus, God commanded Moses to make a holy oil consisting of myrrh, sweet cinnamon, cannabis, and cassia. In Jamaica, cannabis found a new sacred home within the Rastafarian movement, symbolizing resistance to oppression and communion with Jah. Despite legal battles through the 20th century, Rastafarians fought for the right to use cannabis as a sacrament. By 1993, U.S. law formally recognized cannabis as a valid substance for spiritual purposes under the Religious Freedom and Restoration Act. In conclusion, from myths of angels and jinn to temples, shamans, and outlawed smoke, cannabis has always been more than just a plant. Maybe it's a divine gift. Maybe it's a tool of control. Maybe it's both. But one thing's for sure. Every time humanity tries to bury it, the plant rises again, reminding us of the power hidden in plain sight. So ask yourself, was cannabis given to us as medicine or as a key to something much bigger? And if one plant holds this much mystery, what else has been scattered across history waiting to be rediscovered? Stay curious, stay questioning, and join me next time as we keep unraveling the histories, mysteries, and conspiracies. Bravo. Select an option for more.